on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Design Theater. Today I am going to be looking at Ratchet and Clank, and I'm going to be looking at some of the concept art for the game, mostly the character designs and some prop designs. I eventually want to do another video, probably like on the environment design, but I just want to flip through and show some of this stuff because it's pretty incredible the amount of work it is that these guys put into creating this world, and I just really dig the aesthetic. So I wanted to make a video showing some of the concept artwork that I found for it and just kind of talking about it a little bit. So let's go ahead and take a look. So the first thing it is that jumps out at me is that a lot of the designs are all based around specific shapes, right? So in general, shapes that have more curves to them than straight lines give off a cartoonish vibe. And what it is, and I mean by that, is if I take another layer here and I draw a shape, something like this feels much more cartoonish, right? Versus something like this, right? Now the one here on the right, obviously it still looks very cartoonish, but you get what it is that I'm saying. Like, the more curvature it is that something has, the more of a cartoony kind of feel it is that it has. And you can see that here in these designs that they've done, and you see it all throughout the entire game. There's certain things it is that you'll notice. You'll notice that there's a contrast between this gray, this cool gray color, and then this orange, this bright orange. So that is a contrast between the two. And then we see variations along those lines where you have a very strong blue in some of these designs. I covered this in a character design analysis video as well, which I'll link in the cards above here. So you can see a more complete breakdown of some of the character designs. With this, we're just going through and just taking a look at some of this stuff. And so we see, for example, like I mentioned in the previous video, that there's a contrast between circle and triangular shapes. And we can find those all throughout all of these designs. We can find the contrast between these cool gray colors and the color orange, right? And circles and triangles. So these claws are definitely triangular, right? But then we have like these circular shapes here, cylindrical shapes throughout the design. And so that's one way it is that they keep all the designs feeling cohesive, right? Even with something like these weapon designs, we can see those same concepts of triangles and circles. Now, a lot of these have a rectangular form to them as well, right? Because it is a gun, so it has a rectangular form as the base. But then we see that there's a lot of variation on top of that with different shapes, but they all kind of are based around circles and triangles, right? See circles here, see them here. These kind of have a triangular kind of shape to them, right? Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. The character designs, I love them. I love the way that they draw these characters, especially when we have so much science fiction stuff that feels like it's too serious, it's too self-important. I love looking at these cartoonish designs because, again, we see these elements of triangles and circles. We see circles on this guy's vest. His head itself is very triangular. Right? Say this is circular in a sense. Again, we have that contrast of orange and blue within these sets of characters, right? You know, you have this character here who has a brownish orange tinge to his skin, and then of course he's got blue eyes, and then he's also got this blue medallion around him, which is framed. This element is framed with a contrasting color, which is this gold of the brace that goes around him. Here, it's much more. We have much more of an aquatic feel. I would imagine that this is an alien that lives underwater, that lives in some sort of aquatic environment, just because of the push and pull of the green and the blue. It makes me think of like seaweed. It makes me think of water animals. And then we see the opposite contrast of what we saw over here. We see it here, right? We have the orange for the glasses, or these, whatever it is that they are that are holding his eyes, and then the blue of the skin, right? And like I've mentioned in previous videos, you have these contrasts not only of the shape, but also the size of the shape. So you have these big orange shapes, and these contrast against these small orange shapes. Right? Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This is an awesome shot of the whole city. Yeah, I want to do like a more accurate, more like in-depth breakdown of like the environments and whatnot, because they are really cool. I'm not exactly sure if this is. So sometimes I pull things from Yandex and they say the Ratchet and Clank, but they might not be. And now that I'm looking at this, I'm not sure if it is. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next one. Okay, I think these character designs they're based off of Ratchet and Clank. I'm not sure if this is what game it is of Ratchet and Clank that this was made off of, but again, you can see these elements of design here that permeate throughout the entire illustration. And they must be for different games, because we don't see the orange and the blue being used as much here. This is I guess this is Ratchet or Clank. I apologize, Clank. That's a cool character piece. You know, again, you have this consistency of design that goes through the weapons that these characters are holding. You know, these concept arts, they had to think about how the design connects all the way through. So we have these green circular shapes here. We have these green circular shapes on the characters. And then we see similar circular shapes repeated on the weapons, right? Even though they're not green, that element of design is still there. Circular shape here, circular shape. So if you think about them purely as abstract shapes, and you zoom back and you look at them, and you stop thinking about them in terms of weapons, and you just think about them in terms of raw shapes, you can start to get an idea of how it is that they're designing these. And you can start to take that and implement that into what you do. Because I do comics, so I like looking at design stuff like this, because the design is really what communicates the feeling. You know, you can draw a comic out and it works, but the feel might not be there. The style might not be there. The cool factor might not be there. I think we have a couple more illustrations to go through. This might be the last one. Yeah, this is one of the other character designs. Oops. Apologize. My computer likes to zoom in super quick. Yep, so this is another Clank and Zypher. Yeah, this must be from, it's from Insomniac Games, but it must be from one of the other games. Um, because the art style is not completely consistent. But again, we do see that orange and blue contrast. So you can look at characters like this and you could write off in what ways do they contrast to one another and understand that those characters were designed with that in mind. These character designs were designed with the idea of contrasting elements between the two of them uh, being used as a way to differentiate them from one another, right? So if we look at this character design, this is much more, this has a cylindrical feel to it, but it's much more horizontal. This one has a cylindrical feel to it, but it has much more of a vertical to it. We have these shoulder pads here, and these shoulder pads all have these circles on them. Here for shoulder pads, we just have these gears right here. All right, and other circular shapes. These here, circular, circular. And then this is kind of a square shape. Then we have this, we have a triangle. And that triangle carries through in the hand as well as in the hand here. Right. So there's that contrast of circle and triangle, blue and orange, and even each character even has a little bit of blue over here and a little bit of orange over here. Look at their logo on their shirt, right? So, and even in the face as well. There's a little bit of blue over here, and there's a little bit of orange over here in the visor. So yeah, that's looking at Ratchet and Clank's character designs, and yeah, some of the characters and props that were designed for Ratchet and Clank. Like I said, there's another video that I'll link in the cards that you can check out some more in-depth breakdown of some of the character designs in Ratchet and Clank. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If there's a game or something you'd like for me to cover, please drop a comment in the description below. What's your favorite Ratchet and Clank game? Let me know in the comment box. Thanks, guys, for watching. Take it easy.